My gameplay went from looking like this to this. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god! Just by switching the way I hold my controller. In today's video, I'll be teaching you guys how to play claw with every single type of controller, and at the end of the video, I'll be giving away a free controller as well. And since we're talking about Call of Duty, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys some of these settings that you guys should go ahead and change to right now before we hop into actually showing you guys what it looks like when holding the controller. So once you've adjusted those settings, I'll show you guys the 3 best ways to play claw, and there's a bunch of variations, hundreds of them, but I'll only show you guys the top 3. And the ones we're focusing on is not like crab grip or octopus grip or any of those kind of wacky grips. Only talk about the 3 specific ones, which is left-hand claw grip, standard grip, and double claw grip. And a quick disclaimer, I highly recommend not playing claw if you guys feel any way, shape, or form uncomfortable holding that controller. The first type of claw is actually standard claw, and I'll show you guys how it looks like on every type of controller right now. But standard claw is a way you hold your controller where it's only on the right-hand side, where your index finger go ahead and touch all the face surface buttons, and your analog stick will never be left alone. The biggest technique with claw is never letting go of the analog stick or being very specific on when you let go to touch any other buttons. And I highly recommend trying each of these forms at the end of the video just to see which one best fits you. And at the end of this, I'll recommend what I think you guys should do and what forms of claw you guys should play. The next one is called left-handed claw, and it's basically playing claw but on the left side of your controller. Now, it's seen not that often while playing Call of Duty because the only thing you need to touch on your left-hand side is your arrow keys, which will go ahead and mark players if need be. So it's really not that popular, and a lot of players are just stick with a standard claw. Also, in all these forms, your middle finger will go ahead and be touching your back bumpers. If you play flip, it'll be your R1, L1. If you play standard like myself, it'll be L2 and R2. That's your shooting and aiming button. And the last and most complex claw is actually double claw. Double claw is basically playing the claw on both the left and right hand side. Personally, for me, if you have a PS4 controller, I recommend playing double claw. If you're in the PS5, I recommend not playing claw at all and just investing in a controller with paddles. And if you do have paddles, I recommend playing left-handed claw. Personally, for me, I'll show you guys some gameplay. I actually don't play any of these. I do a combination of both standard claw and double claw. And the reason for that is because if I'm playing solo, most of the time I'm doing just standard claw because I don't need a ping as often. And if you notice in my gameplay, I'm mostly popping stims and using my tacticals. And the gameplay I'm showing you guys, I both went from standard to double claw. Try to show you guys variation of both in the solo gameplay. Now, as gameplay is going, there's a lot of mistakes when playing claw I'm going to talk about right now. So when you first start, you might run into, but it's good to correct yourself. But the big advantage and mistakes I see players do when they are playing claw, which is I noticed in the swag video I did not too long ago, players will constantly lift up their right thumb off their analog stick to touch any of the face buttons. Now, by doing this, you kind of defeat the whole purpose of claw. And although there are times that I do it myself, you got to be very specific on when you do it when there's no one around, or you're doing it for a specific reason where you're trying to multitask. Also, another thing is where you rest your index finger. A lot of players will try to rest it on their X or the circle. The best place to rest it is either going to be on triangle or in between that gap. Being able to discipline yourself, resting on top of triangle or circle or in between, and just making sure you don't accidentally hit the button while playing. Another common mistake I see is some of these players will only touch the face buttons with the tip of their finger rather than actually using kind of the inner knuckle part to kind of get that advantage as well. You guys notice in my gameplay right now, most of the time when I'm hitting the buttons, I'm actually hitting it on the inside of my right index finger. And those were 2 of the biggest mistakes I actually saw Swag doing when I was teaching him how to play claw at his house. Is he either A, kept lifting up his right thumb off his analog stick, or he was kind of like mistakenly pressing the triangle and circle button, and his right index finger really wasn't resting in the place it was supposed to. And the last and final mistake I see a lot of players is they kind of hop into a pub match first, whether it's Rebirth or Caldera, to kind of learn claw. Now I go ahead and put up some bots and I start shooting around, and you kind of want to practice your recoil pattern and your movement at first. And before you get to other mechanics or anything like that, those are the 2 main things when it comes to Call of Duty. So if you get those 2 down, you're most likely get all the other mechanics down as well. And in the comment section below, I'll be giving away a free controller code, so just let me know what kind of controller you guys use. For me, I use a standard PS4 controller with a couple digital buttons alongside playing double to standard claw.